This is a looper pedal. Press the button once to record and then press it again to play back. Simple. I got mine a few years ago and it cost about 120 quid. My plan was to practice writing music. I was going to record a loop of chords and then play melodically over the top, see if I could write anything. Shortly after I got this, I stopped using it entirely. There is a little bit of a fight, and by fight I mean it is quite challenging, I would say, to consistently time this thing to play back at exactly the right moment that it won't go out of time. It's a deceptively difficult task, and at the time I just couldn't put fighting with a piece of technology in front of the creative process. So I stopped using it entirely, and that is until recently. Now I'm here to tell you about all the ways that you can use a looper pedal to become a better guitar player, and why if you don't have one of these pedals already, you should get one. Now, fretboard familiarization is something that you're going to be continually working on if you want to improve at the guitar. Every time you learn a new arpeggio, scale or chord, attaching the knowledge to several different parts of the neck rather than just one is going to really give you a lot more freedom and control. So it's a good job these exist, and you can record yourself a chord progression in any key you like, at any level, make it as simple as you desire. Take something that you've learned, or even learn something new, and find it in several different positions up and down the neck. The way I personally use this to expand my knowledge of the fretboard is by recording, a simple set of chords, or maybe even a complicated one if I'm feeling daring. And I might say to myself, can I play only below fret 4? Or I might say, can I play only between frets 7 and 12? Or can I play only on the top 2 strings? These are all creative restrictions. These are the things that are gonna give us good knowledge of the fretboard and give us more control. Even with the most simple keys and chord progressions, you'll be able to find areas of the neck which you've been neglecting and that you can learn from and ultimately be a better player. The reason I stopped using the looper pedal to begin with was exactly why I should have kept going, to work on my rhythm. It wasn't the pedal that needed fixing, it was me. Anyone who owns one of these can tell you how difficult they are to kind of get to know and understand, but it's here that there's a valuable lesson. If you play the guitar and you really want to get good at it, anything at all that highlights a weakness in your playing and in your rhythm is something you should really try your best to overcome. And this example illustrates exactly that point. I had two options. I could have just stopped using the thing, or I could figure it out and ultimately make myself a better musician. I chose the easier option, of course, without realizing that just getting to understand the pedal itself would be something that would really increase my rhythmic understanding. One of the things I realised upon listening back to recordings through the looper was variations in my tempo. My playing speed would vary slightly, little enough that while I was playing I wouldn't notice, but while listening to the loops on repeat I would notice. Now initially this was, a minor challenge. It was an extra thing for me to worry about while I was recording loops, but with enough practice these things kind of become second nature, and eventually my speed got a lot more consistent and I became a better player. Can you see the pattern here? It's all about identifying problems, putting in the work until they eventually become second nature, and then that's when you improve. So I was feeling pretty good about myself until I noticed sort of minor changes in dynamics. Some parts I would play slightly louder than others, and then there was another thing that with enough attention could go from being a weakness to a strength. Whether you realise it or not, the looper pedal is the perfect gadget for you to actually increase your music theory knowledge on the guitar. The tempo, the number of chords, and the chord type are all under your control. You can record yourself a backing track at whatever level you want, and from there you can start to explore new ways to interact musically with those chords. When I feel like challenging myself music theory wise, I'll often record a new set of chords into the looper pedal, including something unfamiliar just to try and throw myself off, and then that's what I'm going to be testing my playing skills against. So, back to my original idea for using the looper pedal, to write songs. Time after time I've heard stories of popular songs starting with just a wordless melody over a set of chords. So what better tool could you have than one of these to give that process a go yourself? A thing I noticed a while ago when I got my first reverb pedal was that the more accurate a guitar tone you create for yourself when you're trying to write music, the more naturally things just sort of spring into action. A more realistic studio sound probably just kind of makes you feel more like you're in a song and just kickstarts the creative process for you. With the looper pedal, you have the opportunity to record yourself a killer rhythm guitar part, and if you've worked on the guitar tone, something that's really gonna creatively inspire yourself, the pedal isn't gonna forget. So if you put the rest of your guitar effects before this in the signal chain, it will store that until you erase it. And that's really helpful because creatively, often you can't force things. If something just isn't happening today, it's just not happening today. And so it gives you the opportunity to really come back to it and work on that song time after time, and it'll all be here until you get rid of it. Now you can do everything right from a technical standpoint and still feel like your playing is lacking just something to give it a boost from being pretty good to being amazing. I'm not just talking about techniques here like slides, vibrato and bends, but also in musical storytelling. This is your ability to play and improvise for a long time and create an engaging listening experience without using up all of your tricks too soon. I find that flexing the musicality muscle is best done when improvising over a backing track. And of course, with one of these, you can create your own backing tracks. You have full control over the style, the tempo, and the musical complexity, so you can really create something at whatever level you want to, and then you can start working on your musicality from there. One final thing I want to mention is that I think YouTube backing tracks are an extremely useful way to practice, but some of the backing tracks, actually most of them, sound so good on their own. You can actually get away with quite a lot more than if you just had a rhythm guitar track recorded into a looper pedal. And I think that the extra kind of responsibility that you've got to shoulder to really make it work just by yourself can actually really result in a lot of improvement. And I think that if you were to switch from using YouTube backing tracks to then just a single rhythm guitar track and then return later on to YouTube backing tracks, I think you would notice a substantial improvement in your playing. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you learned something useful today. If you think I missed anything important, feel free to inform me in the comments section. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos from me about how you can improve your skills on the guitar. And if you're interested in taking one-to-one lessons with me, why not check out my website in the description. Anyway, take it away.